Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a very good friend of mine here. He's a coach, as you know, because you had a challenge to go and watch his interview. You saw his energy, and he comes from Haiti all the way to the United States. He had gone through a lot of struggle in his life. It was not easy, especially the area where he is right now. He had to struggle and he had to conquer himself to reach a level where he became the champion in whatever he does, whether it is training, whether it is facilitation, whether it is authoring, whether it is coaching. He's a master in everything. And he has got a wonderful, beautiful wife who also supports him in everything. That's the beauty of life. It's not about one area of life. It's not only about finance. It's not only about fitness. You can see his biceps is projected from his shirt. You can see his deltoid. Okay. If I ask him to remove his shirt, you will see the actual body. Okay. Right. He's a fantastic person. He knows how to grab the attention of the audience once he's on the stage, because you got to see him live on stage. Such a fantastic person. Such a fantastic person. So it's all him today. So let me introduce you to Rich Fontaine. Rich, this is your stage, this is your platform, this is your people, it's your team, it's your brothers, it's your sisters from different parts of the world. Here you go.
Wow. I appreciate, first of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Very humbled by it. And yes, the biceps and triceps are protruding. It's just the shirt's tight. That's all. That's the only reason. But I want to thank everyone for taking your time out of your busy day to come watch this. They say 85% of success is just showing up. So I
Exactly.
want everyone to give yourselves a round of applause just for showing up to being here today, because
Absolutely.
you're putting yourself into the successful chair just for showing up. So appreciate it and thank you for that. So a little bit of background about myself. My name is Rich Fontaine, real name, not a gimmick, but that is my real name. My parents, I always say my parents named me Rich because they grew up so poor.
Mm.
And we grew up with very minimal means in Brooklyn, New York. Both parents are from Haiti. We didn't have much. My mother didn't speak the language, and my father had a biology degree, so he was a substitute teacher. And growing up, we live in rough areas where there's a lot of violence, a lot of drug sales, and people just kind of being a little wild. And in that, my parents always tried to instill in me being centered, being who
So,
you are,
any
regardless of what's
questions?
happening
Local.
around you.
Yeah.
Please unmute yourself. Show respect to the speaker, please. Yes, please.
And not a problem. And basically, around that area, we grew up very poor. So I was bullied, made fun of because I didn't have the nice clothes, didn't have the name brands, and I didn't have much in the ways of finances. Neither did my parents. But we were abundance in love. And that taught me that you can thrive and survive in life just through love itself and having that commitment to get better. Though my parents grew up with very minimal means, my father ended up becoming a physician, a doctor,
Mhm.
just from grinding. And watching him work so hard, it instilled in me what it takes to become successful. It takes dedication, it takes push, perseverance, and it takes constantly learning, constantly being coached. I saw years of struggling to become successful himself. And so I followed that same route. I became an engineer, though I got kicked out of college twice because of not reaching the grade point average and not being mature enough to handle the big responsibilities. Until I finally got focused. I ended up graduating with a Bachelor of Civil Engineering. That's when I wrote my first book, which ended up being published by a publisher, which led me to meeting the great Les Brown, being one of the founding members of his institute, speaking on stage with him.
Mhm.
Now I'm on my fourth book where I teach people how to write. And my third book was how to help build up self-esteem, because self-esteem is what made me the man I am today. And also my second book, Destiny on Purpose, how to get what you truly want out of life, is what I call the 20 laws of success.
Mhm.
There's 20 underlining things that if you can master, I promise you and almost guarantee you that you will find success in your life in whatever avenue that you're trying to pursue. But it takes time and it takes study and it takes mastery. And we all know the masters, my mentor T. Harv Eker used to say, all masters were once a disaster.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you're starting. You know, like Les Brown says, you don't have to be great to be started, but you have to get started to be great. And
Absolutely.
it takes a perseverance. It takes a single-minded focus of this is the goal I want, and this is the goal I'm going to get. And it's a resolve of making sure that is singularly your focus and everything else becomes secondary. The issue, especially in this country where I live in, is the amount of distraction we have to stay focused. So you cannot be a master at anything if you're not focused and concentrated on the task at hand. The issue is we let the economy, the presidential election, what's
Mhm.
happening in the society, what's happening in schools, what's happening around us that affects what happens to us internally. But what I found out is if you can master what you are, who you are internally, you can master your outdoor circumstances.
Mhm.
Because one of my great mentors said to me, Rich, you create your own reality. Now, you don't create everyone else's reality, you create your own reality. But the issue is we get so caught up in everyone else's reality. We say, well, what about them? Or what's happening to them? But the purpose is you are single-minded focused in a body, in a
Yes.
soul, that's whatever your name is. First name, last name. That's the embodiment of your vessel. So
Mhm.
your duty is to focus within that vessel, not to focus on everyone else's vessel. Because we're all on our own journeys. Everyone's life is never the same. But if you want your life to create the things that you want, you have to be focused within yourself, which takes a lot of mental mastery because everything in the world will distract you. I promise you, in the beginning of 2020,
Mhm.
I remember on December 31st, I got tons of messages. Rich, this is gonna be the best year ever. This is gonna be the best year of my life. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write this book. I'm gonna have this podcast. I'm gonna start this movie. All these things, and it sounds so enthusiastic. But January 2nd, January 3rd, February 1st, March 1st, April 1st, what happened to that enthusiasm? What happened to that energy that was on December 31st? What happened is most people's energy was dispersed
Exactly.
from family issues, spouse issues, everything that's not the goal. But if you can keep that goal in your mind every single day, even if you do a little bit towards that goal, you are what I call creating a masterpiece. If you think of Michelangelo, the great sculptor, he starts with a block of rock. That's all he starts with. When you see the thinker and you think of the great statues, they started with a block of rock. Ugly, not pretty looking. But each day he chipped away at it. Each day, every day, he just chips more and more and more at it. And years later, he created a masterpiece. So, one thing, if you want to take away this talk, is A, where I'm at now took time. It wasn't a day, it was years and years and years of work, of every day doing a little bit. It doesn't, I'm not spending hours and hours and hours beating on my craft. But if I spend an hour working on my journey, 1 hour a day, 30 minutes a day, it accumulates. And then people say years later, wow, I'm inspired where you came from. But I took years of practice, years of focus, and years of keeping my goal only ahead of my mind. Now, was life easy? No. Did I go through my own trials, my own tribulations? Yes. I still do every day. But what keeps me focused is all the challenges I had in my past, I overcame by three things. One, faith. Faith. What Les Brown calls finding answers in the heart. FAITH.
Mhm.
Finding answers in the heart. Meaning,
I want everybody to take the notes because this is gold that is coming from Rich. He's giving you the definition of faith. So just write it down, make use of this because he charges in thousands and thousands and thousands when he's on stage. You're getting this absolutely free. Do respect his time. Do respect the gold that is coming, the nuggets that are coming from his mouth. Thank you, Rich. Please, sorry for that.
yes, no, thank you, Farouk. But yes, faith is finding answers in the heart, meaning you're not finding the answers outside of yourself. You're not finding the answers intellectually. Because sometimes we read tons of books and we think, oh, all the answers are going to be in the book. No, the answers will come through your heart. All the book is guiding you to a proper direction. But all answers you have is internal. Everything that I do, every book that I wrote came from my heart. So that's when people read it, I know they'll be inspired. I know they'll be educated because it's not coming from my intellectual brain. It's coming from my heart brain. That's one, having faith. Number two is what I like to call a single-minded focus. Not multi-minded focus, but single. What is your one goal that you want to accomplish? Let's say in a year, 5 years, 10 years, doesn't really matter. But what is one goal that you cannot leave this planet without achieving? And when you have that goal and you keep that single-minded, like, okay, I'm going to accomplish, I'm not I may, not I might, but I will accomplish this goal. Or it is done. I like to use that phrase, it is done. As soon as the goal hit my mind, it is done. And I move as if it is done. And three, become more you-based than everyone else-based. I used to want validation from my parents, from my family members, from society to say, Rich, we agree with you for what you're doing. I agree with you. Yes, I want you to accomplish this goal. You want to be rich? Yeah, be rich, Rich. I want you to be rich. I promise you, nobody wants you to be rich. Nobody wants you to achieve your goal. They're so focused on different things, traditions maybe, upbringing, themselves. They're not really focused on what you want. So I had to learn. I had to get focused on what I want.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. So when you become
just a minute.
but when you become focused, centered on you, not in a selfish way, but I call it more selfless. Because if you do well, you could do well for your family, you can do well for your spouse, you can do well for your kids. It's like the airplane where they say, put the mask on you first, then help the other person. Because if you're suffocating, they'll end up suffocating too. So be focused on you. How do I make myself better? Health-wise, how do I make myself better? Financially, how do I get myself better? Intellectually. And when you focus on you, you're actually being selfless, because as you grow, you can help others grow as well. I hope this talk served you well. I know I only have 10 minutes. I try to give you as much.
No. This is gold. This is gold. How many of you got the lesson from Rich? I want you to type here. I want you all to be muted and please go and type in the chat box. What did you learn from Rich right now? What are the 3 lessons that you learned from Rich right now? Just go and type. I want to see. I don't know who is. Okay, just go. Yes, Faith. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, please. I want to see.
Single-minded.
Okay. Single-minded. Yes. Okay. Goal. Okay.
One goal.
Answers. Yeah. Okay, that's exactly correct. That's a full form of single-minded. One goal. Single goal. Faith, single-minded, focus, just focus. Okay, single-mindedness, faith, and oneness. Very good, excellent. Okay, there he brings some books. Okay.
All right, I just want to show you this book because since we talk about focus, this is a book called The Power of Focus. It's from Jack Canfield.
Oh,
The Power of Focus, and it just talks about what I'm talking about today. Is when you're focused on one single goal, you're less distracted. You're not going so many different directions. You're on one goal. And then when you think about the greatest people of our time, you know them for really one thing.
Yeah.
You know Warren Buffett from investing. You know Les Brown from speaking.
Yeah.
You know Jack Canfield from writing books. So when you focus on that one goal, you're becoming a master at it. And that's when the world knows you for that one thing. And that's what you want. That's what you really want. Yes.
That's absolutely true. And those who have attended the training yesterday, you remember I spoke about the power of one, PO1. That's exactly what Rich is talking today. And if you had received an email this morning, this afternoon, where it was all about focus, that was about laser focus, it's all about exactly what Rich is talking today. We didn't plan anything. And if you got the mind map, which I sent you today to get distracted from everything so that you could get completely focused. That's exactly what Rich is talking today. Rich is talking about not about multitasking. Everyone can do multitasking. If you are a leader and if you are asking your staff member to do that, this, and this, I'll tell you that you are killing them. The productivity goes completely down. If you want to be productive, if you want to achieve something, if you want to grow and excel, just Rich was talking right now, you've got to focus on one single item, one single destination. That's when you hit the goal. Sometimes your goal would be one of the most deepest goal in your life. And that's what he was talking about. If there is one goal, you have to achieve that goal by the end of this life. And that's exactly what brings you in peace. Now we have a lot of participants here, but I would like to give the mic to two of our guests who will be following Rich in the coming weeks. Let me start first with Nasreen from Turkey. Nasreen, if you're there, I saw you somewhere.
Hello, everybody. I'm here.
Yeah. Yes,
Hello.
Nasreen. Yes, please. It's your turn. Please go ahead.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Like Rich, I'm also an author,
Mhm.
motivational speaker, and my focus is primarily on coaching aspiring authors into publishing their own books for the first time. Um, and I have to say that I resonate with everything that Rish has said. And I have to tell you that a lot of what he's saying is a lot of what needs to be practiced to get anywhere, not only authoring, but whatever you want to do. Um, Faith, like he said, is an extremely important thing. It's the one thing that keeps your hope alive for what is coming in the future.
Mhm.
And it's the one thing that you must focus on when you are in your darkest times. And we are living in those kinds of times right now where a lot is happening that uh, puts a dampener on things. Sometimes it makes your world a dark place. And sometimes, although we know that we mustn't let that drain us and bring us down, it happens anyway. It's a normal and natural thing. The one thing I encourage everybody to do is to shine brightest when it is darkest. Why? Because when it is darkest and you think you can't get out of it, the one goal that you have that is at the forefront of everything is the one thing that takes your focus away from the darkness. It takes the darkness, it's what I call, it's just like the cover of a book with a watermark.
Mhm.
The darkness must become the watermark at the back of the cover, and your goal must be the title on the cover of the book. And that is how you get through whatever comes your way, whatever challenge comes your way on the path towards your goal. If you remember it like that, and remember that whatever is troubling you, whatever is getting you down, is just the background on the cover of your book, and your goal is the title of your book, then that is what you will keep front of your mind, and that is what will help you strive forward. I really can't add much more already said, but I can say that I resonate with it, endorse it, and I encourage every one of you to think about everything that you're doing just like that, just like the cover of a book.
Wow, that was
Yeah, that was
absolutely
that was phenomenal.
amazing.
That
That
was
was
very good,
amazing.
very good. And there's one thing I want to just put a quick input in. Um, and this is more of a paradigm shift, right? I like people to think in different paradigms. The reason why is how you see the world affects the things you do. It really, really does. So, and I'm hearing this a lot. People say, there's a lot of darkness these days. I want a paradigm shift for people to understand. There's darkness all days. Since the beginning of time, I had a mentor named Jim Rohn, and this was in the 1980s. He was sitting with a bunch of businessmen, and they said, the 90s are coming, Jim. Do you know what's going to happen in the future? And he said, gentlemen, I know exactly what's going to happen in the future. And so they all gathered around us. Okay, tell us what's going to happen in the future. He said, gentlemen, there's going to be a period of ups and there's going to be a period of downs. That's what's going to happen in the future. There's always throughout history and throughout time. I'm a historian. I love history. If you look through history, there's been the Dark Ages and there's been the Renaissance age. There's been high in racism. There's been low in racism. There's been high in economics. There's been low in economics. The goal for anyone, I believe, is even though the graph constantly goes like this, is find a way to stay here. Find a way to stay centered. So never get too high. When everybody say, oh, the economy is booming. Say, okay, that's fine. I stay here. Oh, the economy's going down. Everyone's losing their jobs. That's fine. I stay right here. Because when you could constantly stay in the middle, centered, it doesn't matter what life is doing. You always are right exact point where you need to be. So I never get too high through praises. I never get too low through criticism. I say, that's perfectly fine. I stay right here. And when you could do that, it doesn't matter what's happening in your life, you're always moving towards the goal steadily, steadily, steadily. And so I just wanted to add that so people don't say, oh, these are different times. Trust me, they're not. You go through history, I promise you what's happening right now has happened before and will happen again.
We are ready to take a question. Is there anyone who want to take a question? One person at a time can unmute and introduce yourself and go with a question. Yes, Manju,
Manju,
yes.
hey.
Manju.
How are you?
Thank you so much. And it was really, really, pearls of wisdom, I'll say, which you just shared with us. So it's a great opportunity for me to ask you a question, Coach.
Yes.
My clients, since I'm into coaching, my clients, they come up with a lot of cloudiness, in their mind, like they have fear of failure, they have self-doubts, and they have doubts, coming up, how will they reach their destination, and what if they do? These are the main which they come across. And what advice would you like to, give to them in this kind of a scenario, where what I can share with them so that
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. So you're asking what ways can they get over the fears and the doubts of reaching their goal?
Yeah.
Yes, great question. So if you ever read Napoleon Hill's work, I'm a very big Napoleon Hill fan and student.
Yeah.
He talks about auto-suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Auto-suggestion. And what auto-suggestion is repeated mantras, repeated affirmations, repeated declarations that you give to yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Now, we all have different paradigms. And those are beliefs. Those are just beliefs you keep repeating. In order to shift those beliefs and those paradigms, you must input, it's like a computer system. You must input the right data to get the right data out. And when you replace the data from doubt to faith, it starts to become more of your belief system, but it takes time. So what I do what I do personally. Every morning, I write down affirmations, and I put them in I am statements. I am successful. I am patient. I am calm. I am at peace. I am wealthy. I am doing well in my business. Just those things I do every morning. Also, I have a recording of myself, because there's something about your own voice that goes into your mind that I play for myself every morning after meditation. Because meditation puts you in a very receptive state, right? It's like what hypnotists do. They put you in a receptive state, and all they're doing is giving you suggestions to bypass your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. So I do the same thing to myself. I basically program myself. So after meditation, a deep meditation, I put on my headphones, and for maybe 20 minutes, I listen to these repeated affirmations. Again, I am well, I am healthy, I am positive, I am rich. And these become my mantras. And now what happens is when life hits me, if something goes wrong or something goes bad, initially those mantras start popping up in my mind. As soon as I start getting negative, I'm like, oh, things never work out. Instantly, the affirmations start popping in my head. But no, Rich, I am good. Everything always works out for me. This is your affirmations that you repeat, and they start to replace the negative. So now I don't go too far negative because the affirmations bring me back. So when you have to program your mind. So I would do for your students is get a notebook of paper and write down 10 affirmations that they want with their goal. It doesn't matter if it's fitness, it's wealth, money, doesn't matter. I increase my income $10,000 a year. Whatever it is, write down those goals and have them read it every morning, every afternoon, and every night before bed for 30 days. And I promise you, they'll see a change after 30 days just alone. I've done it for years, and you can see massive change.
Yeah.
But just in 30 days, I started seeing massive changes in how I think about myself. And it's really how you think about yourself that really will cause the doubt. Can I do it?
Jahan bhai.
You know, it's not like can it be done, it's more can I do it? Shifting that paradigm with yourself is the most important because it's them that believe about them.
Could you just unmute or just mute yourself, please? Respect the
ഇവരൊന്നും
speaker.
പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല.
Oh my goodness. I'm not able to mute from here. I don't know why is that. Okay.
I think you have to get there's different Zoom options in the beginning of your session. I think you could set up if you have complete control. But yeah, but Manju, that's what I would suggest for them is to reprogram their mind.
Yeah.
It's all about reprogramming their self-image. And I promise you, it works. I've started with very low self-esteem.
Yeah. You've been every day posting your in them.
Yeah. And I started very low self-esteem. I mean, I used to steal clothes because I couldn't get name brand clothes. So I wanted to feel like the other kids. So I used to steal the clothes just so I could feel good about myself. Now I could go outside with flip-flops and shorts and feel perfectly confident because I knew I don't need those exterior things because I reprogrammed my mind of who I am and who I'm becoming.
Great. Thank you so much. It was really, really wonderful. Thanks so much.
And one thing I liked about what Rich said right now is whenever you come up with an affirmation, the affirmation is not about future, it's not about the past, it's all about ing format. It's all about now and now. It's the power of now. Just like what he mentioned, I am healthy, I am rich. Whatever you say 10 times, you keep on repeating the same thing again. Automatically, what happens? That becomes. They say that just like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill said that your thoughts becomes things. That's exactly, the more you think, it becomes a thing. Good. Thank you very much, Manju, and thanks a lot, Rich. Can we go to the next person? The only one person, one person unmute, please.
Hello?
Yes, Irsha.
Yeah, I'm Irshal. Hi, Rich Fontaine.
From where are you calling? Tell us from where are you calling right now?
Yeah, I'm calling from UAE.
Okay, from the Middle East, from Dubai.
Yeah, Middle East. Yeah.
Oh, the Middle
Dubai.
East. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. See, actually, I want to ask that our previous incidents, no, when we are doing something, that previous incident, if it is good, that bad things, no, it will come again and again. So how to block that? How to eliminate that, all those thoughts?
Okay, let me just repeat the question. That what happens to the bad things? I would rather than call them the bad things, the ups and the downs. Something happened in your life which were down, maybe financial health, maybe relationship and so forth. And that keeps on popping up in your mind. So the question to Rich is, how can we get rid of that and focus and move forward? Yes, please, Rich.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question a little slowly because I want you to give you some background information. Okay, Israel?
Yeah.
So there's one thing in physics. So I'm engineer by trade. So there's some things I study in physics. So there's a law in physics which says energy and matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Okay? Energy and matter cannot be created nor destroyed. And your thoughts are energetic. They're energetic. So they cannot be destroyed. They cannot get rid of. So I just want to put that in there. So you can't get rid of them, but you can change them. So the point is not to get rid of those thoughts, is to transmute those thoughts in from a negative to a positive state. Okay? So there's one thing I learned on, I'll show you there's a program I took, the Millionaire Mind Intensive.
Oh yeah.
Millionaire Mind Intensive. I don't know if it's in your country.
It is
in
there.
the
It's
US.
there. It is there. It is there.
It is? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
If you haven't gone, go. It's life-changing. Life-changing. And what he would do for us, he would have us wear a bracelet, right? And whenever we have a negative thought about money, we would snap ourselves with the bracelet, which would hurt. It would hurt. You would have to snap yourself hard because you're programming your mind to say, okay, that's not a good thought. It's like when you touch the fire, you get burned. Your body recognizes, okay, don't touch that. So when you basically spank yourself for having that thought, you're programming your mind to say, stop having that thought. Don't have that thought. And then you instantly replace that thought 7 times. It takes 7 times to replace one single negative thought. So you have to replace a positive affirmation for that one thought. So let's give you an example. I don't know. I'm always doing something stupid. Snap yourself, and then you kiss your boo-boo, and then you say, you know what? I am always doing something good. I am always doing something good. I am doing something good. And even I like to do is take it a step further, is think of a situation, because we all have them, of one situation that you did something good, that you did something positive, something did work out for you. And then what you're doing, you're replacing that negative affirmation with a more positive thought and memory, so you could think of the thought and have the memory. You're like, you know what? Well, I do good things. Good things do happen to me sometimes. Because it's all about replacing and transmuting that energy. Again, you can't destroy the energy. You can only change it to whatever you want. But you have to be diligent in time. And in time, after a while, you don't have to do this. I don't snap myself anymore. I don't have to. Because in time, it automatically comes. Whenever I'm like, man, we'll never have enough money. No, what are you talking about? I have plenty of savings in my savings account. I have that Bitcoin account I have my 401k. We're saving for our real estate venture. What are you talking about, Rich? You have tons of money. So instantly, it starts to change. And those are real techniques. I would try, get a rubber band. All you need is a small rubber band. And whenever you have that negative thought, snap yourself. Repeat 7 times a positive affirmation and think of one memory. It could be a small thing. When you helped an old lady across the street, it doesn't have to be big, but that was a moment of compassion. That was a moment of kindness. You could say, I'm a good person. I may not have what I want, but at least I'm a good person. And that starts a momentum of, I'm a good person. Good people have good things happen to them. Yeah, I could have these certain things happen to me. And you start a momentum shift. That's what you want. Once the momentum shift starts, I promise you, it'll take you down the rabbit hole that you're looking for. But it's instant. So you have to stop that thought instant. You can't let that thought plant seeds. Every thought is a seed. So if you let that seed plant, it will germinate, it will grow roots, and it will stick with you. So you have to pull the weed right when the thought hits you. So how you pull the weed again? You snap yourself, kiss your boo-boo, 7 times positive affirmation, and then think of a memory of you doing something positive or something positive happening to you.
Very good. This is absolutely a very, very strong tool in NLP or
Thank
neuro-linguistic programming. It's called the anchoring. You re-anchor yourself and change it completely. Very good. That's absolutely scientifically proven. What Rita said right now. Now, if you don't have a rubber band, you can just snap your fingers or you can scratch your head. It could be anything. You can even bite your ear. That's fine. Anything that reminds you that you should not be thinking of X, but rather I have to think 7 times of the Y rather than the X. And that will automatically clear your doubt and you just focus.
Try 30 days straight. 30 days straight. You'll be amazed at how different you are.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please. One person at a time. I want everyone to respect the speaker. Please mute yourself. Okay, next question, please. Rich, are you really enjoying this?
Yo, this is awesome. Thank you.
Good.
I love Q&A.
Let's go for the next question, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not sure what is the time in the US with Rich Fontaine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to see him to give a wonderful chance opportunity to be
May I
with
know
you.
who's the speaker? May I know who's the
My name
speaker?
is Arif Khan Palapati. I am from India,
Okay.
Arfan?
same place of our mentor, Farooq sir.
Yes,
Thank you for
please.
joining us.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would like to ask you that we are doing so many things, but how we can find our passion?
Oof, great question. Okay, so great question. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
I like to adjust words. And the reason why is because different words have different meanings. And
Yeah.
sometimes words get confused, right? Especially in the English language.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes one word means different things. So I like to be very specific on the words, okay? I would say, I would change, not looking for your passion, but looking for your gift. I believe that every person was born with a gift. Everyone. Not one person is on this planet was not born with a gift of value. So I would say find your gift of value because many times we want to do things because of exterior reasons. Let's be honest. I think if I take this job, I'll make more money.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I have this career, I'll have more status. I think if I drive this car, I'll get more female attention. And so we do things for exterior purposes, not for internal happiness. But your gift and your internal happiness are one of the same, right? When I write books, I'm probably my most happiest. And I've done that since I was 8 years old. The very first book I've ever written was at 8 years old. I used to read Goosebumps books, little scary stories. So I wrote one. My teacher found it and he said, okay, I was failing in the class. He said, all right, I'll pass you if you read the story out loud. I was shy at the time. I said, no, I'm not reading the story out loud. So he said, okay, I'll read it myself, if that's okay. I said, that's fine. He reads the story out loud to the students and they gave me a standing ovation. That was a trigger for me to say, writing books, I love writing books, and people started to recognize me for that. It's all aligned. So there's one thing that you can do that you love to do. It doesn't matter. It's cooking, speaking, writing articles, fishing. Like everyone has their very, very skill. People understand in the good book, Peter, you know, the biggest disciple of Jesus was a fisherman. And he was a great fisherman. That was his gift. So we all have a special gift that will make room for us. So the question is not what your passion is, because you can be passionate about many different things. I have many different passions. But my gift is in my communication. So what I do is I train myself on my gift to perfect the gift. So I write more. I had a friend told me, a coach said, write something every single day. So that's why I write so many articles. I write so many blogs to keep my gift. Communications, I took Toastmasters, Les Brown Institute. Why? Because I want to create a better gift of speaking and communication. So what I have, the best way to answer that question is go back to your youth. There's something that you do naturally. The thing is we disregard what we could do naturally. We think, well, this is natural. I do this anyway. This is easy. You know, I shouldn't be paid for it or have a fee for it because this is easy for me. No, what's easy for you is your gift. You just have to perfect it. I was listening to Steve Harvey. He said, I'm just funny. I'm naturally funny. So I became a comedian. Now I make millions and millions of dollars doing what I'm naturally, easily good at. He said, I don't have to try to be funny. I'm just funny. I don't have to try to communicate. I just find the right words to say at the right time. It's just natural for me. So for you yourself, what did you know as a kid you loved to do, was easy for you to do, simple for you to do, that you can actually monetize and make money for? That's the true question. What is your gift of value? What can you offer to people that you know they need? My communication, my books, people need. Because this information, as we can see right now, is needed information to help change lives. So you have something yourself with the same gift of value that you can use to help change lives. Don't do it for the money. Trust me, I've done many things for the money, never worked out for me. But when I did it because it was my gift, it seems like the world makes room for me. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Rich said, what Rich said right now is, look for things that's easy for you. Look for things that you will do free. Look for things which is hard for others. Look for things that you had the dream while you were young. Look for things that the world needs. That's one thing. Whereby you add value to the marketplace. And if that thing, if your gift can add value to the marketplace, automatically the money, the
You're
fame,
off to the races.
everything will come
You're off to
straight
the
away to you.
races.
You don't have to do anything. I sit in my house, money comes to me. I'm telling you the fact. And that's the truth. I'll tell you, for people, the people who work for 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months, I'm making one day, 1 hour. I make it 1 hour, sitting and talking to the camera and make very simple. And sometimes
Yes.
when you go and ask people to get that amount of money that I make in 1 hour, in 90 minutes, like what I made yesterday, the last day, I'm not talking about me high, but I'm telling you, that's the only thing that I know. That's the only thing that I know. And that's my passion. And when I sit and when I talk, I forget about everything and the energy starts flowing like what Bruce Lee said. It has to flow like water. And automatically money, the fame, everybody will start knowing. Thank you very much, Rich. That was so powerful. And there's a true thing what he said right now. Let's take the next question, please. Very rich one.
Hi, sir. I have a question.
Yes, let me see who you are. Okay, right.
Yes, sir. It's me, Shabab from Saudi.
From Saudi Arabia. Which
Saudi
part of
Arabia.
Saudi?
Wow.
Which
Thank
part
you.
of
Riyadh.
Saudi? From Riyadh. Okay,
Riyadh,
so
yeah.
Rich, now you know that you got people from different parts of the world right
Yeah.
now. Okay, go ahead, please. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
My question is regarding the public speaking. Apart from the fluency in English and vocabulary, which are the main steps that we have to focus to connect with the audience through the entire period of our speech? For example, if I started speaking something now, maybe people lose my connection in some time. So if I want to be with the audience full time, what are the main focus we have to?
Great question.
What are the main things that we have to take focus on?
Great question. And that was Shabib?
Shabab.
Shabab. Thank you, Shabab.
Yeah.
Great question. And a very important question. And this is how to keep connection with anyone and everyone. So even more over just in speaking is when you are communicating with an audience, even one-on-one or with a group, large group, thousands of people, doesn't matter, is the very first thing you have to always remember is get out of your own head. You cannot be present if you're in your mind. Okay?
Yeah.
So the more blank your thoughts are, the better your connection will be. So I'll give you an example of what I do. I practice my speeches, right? If I'm going to do a particular speech out into an audience, I practice the speech, but I never practice it to be exactly verbatim. Why? Because if a hiccup comes, like say, for example, a baby cries, that may take me out of my process. And then I'm thinking, okay, what was I going to say next? Now, as soon as I do that, I pull my connection with the audience. Once I go in my head, the connection is gone. So I have to be completely present. Even if there's something that pops into my head that I didn't previously practice, I say it. Why? Because I feel if you're in the moment and something comes to you, that's literally, whatever you believe, God, the cosmic universe, doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. It's something, energy flowing to you. Hey, say this. It's like a whisper. Hey, say this. Say that. Say that.
Okay.
Because that's a connection you have. You're being one. You're being one at that time. That you're being one with the audience and you're being one with the cosmic energy. You're being an empty vessel. Bruce Lee likes to say, be an empty cup.
Yeah.
Be an empty cup. Because a full cup is useless. A full cup is useless. So if you're full with your own thoughts, okay, I need to say this, the audience needs to hear this, you are taking the connection away. But if you're an empty cup, you're allowing the audience to, even subconsciously, through energy vibes, hey, I need to hear something. And then the universe says, no, that person needs to hear this, say this. I remember saying speeches where I had one speech in mind, but when I got on stage, that completely left me, and I just had this thing to say. And the audience was so connected. It's like, man, I really need to hear that. They came to me and say, Rich, I don't know why you said that, but I needed to hear that day. And to me, I'm like, that wasn't me, sir. I know who I am. I'm very humble because I know I'm a vessel. I know that wasn't me. So I take my ego completely out of it. I know I am an empty cup to share a message. So I have to be empty for that message to come to relay it. So the best thing to do is get out of your own head. As soon as you start thinking, go back. Do it, have an anchor to say, oh, no, focus on the audience. I start asking questions. Like I'll ask a question. So how's everyone feeling today? Oh yeah, good. Always completely keep your interaction with the audience by not getting in your own head. Don't think. This is gonna be hard for some people, but don't think. The more you think, the less you're connected. The less you're thinking, the emptier you are, the more that connection is there. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yeah. I got it clear. Very good answer. Thank you for that.
That was absolutely very strong, because most of the people, what they do is they focus on their clothing. Yeah, am I looking perfect, and all those things. Do not focus on you. And as you step onto the stage, it's not about you. Yeah. Next time when you watch a presentation and the speaker walks in, and if he's talking about him, and him, and if he's talking about what he has done, what his company has done, you got to understand he has already disconnected. He's already disconnected. It's all about you. And what Rich said right now is so powerful. Is as soon as you walk in, if you want to connect with somebody, you got to ask questions. Ask questions, you connect with people. And that is one of the best technique most great speakers they do. They walk in, they ask the questions. And if you find that there is some sort of disconnection in between, you ask the question. Every time you ask a question, you reconnect with that. That's a very fantastic tool. And most of the speakers, they use that. Good. Thank you very much, Rich. Let's go for the next question. Let's go for the next question. You can mute yourself.
Sir,
and let's. Yes.
Sir, good evening.
Okay, good evening to you. Let me unpin you so I can see you. Okay, right. There you go. Yes. Introduce yourself.
My name is Rana Razak. I'm studying in grade 8, and now I'm to grade 9.
Nice.
Before that, let me just introduce her. She did an interview. She interviewed me around a month back. That's how I came to get connected with her. She's a YouTuber. She's a police officer and so forth. She's an 8th grader, but she's going to be a police officer. Yes, that's what she is. Okay, go ahead, Rana. It's your turn.
Yeah, please send me your YouTube channel. I'll subscribe to you.
Yeah, for sure. She's very good at interviewing. Okay.
Sir, how do you maintain as #1 always?
How do you maintain as a champion? How do you maintain yourself as the leader? How do you maintain as #1 always?
Oh my gosh. Let's just say it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone. Let's just be honest. We all go through our ebb and flows. We all go through our up and downs. And we all go through our doubts. We all go through our questioning. I like to tell people, I probably quit at least 3 or 4 times a week. I do. Obviously in my mind, I don't physically quit, but there's always that thought of like, is this worth it? Like, is this going to even happen? Like, are we wasting our time? It happens. These are natural thoughts. They're natural. But what you do is you battle those thoughts as they come. To be a champion, to be a warrior, is to be a warrior in your mind all the time. My mentor, Jim Rohn, says, stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Stand guard at the doorway of your mind. So if you're standing guard, you're watching your thoughts. You're being conscious of them. And so when those doubtful thoughts come in, like we talked about with the anchor, you can also just replace them. And I'd like to talk myself down off the ledge. I like to call that talk myself down off the ledge. Whenever I'm like, I'm going to quit. I say, Rich, okay, if we do quit, I have conversations with myself. Okay, if we do quit, you're going to have to start something else anyway. So if you quit, you're going to have to start something. So why take all the momentum that you started and go backwards? I'm like, you're right. That makes no sense. Why would I quit? You're right. Or, hey, am I even smart enough to get this done? Well, Rich, you passed this. You're an engineer. You graduated with a BS in civil engineering. You worked as an engineer. You worked as a project manager for Universal and Disney. Like I start to, not brag, but talk about my accolades to talk myself down off the ledge. Like, Rich, if you could do all those things, coming from where you come from the background you come from, nobody in your family has done that. Nobody in your family has lived where you live, drive what you drive. You are an anomaly. Why can't you continue that? And so I have little conversations with myself to talk myself off the ledge. And each time I do, I remind myself, because always a reminder, when those negative thoughts come in, that you just forget who you really are. So it's good to remind yourself, okay, if I could do this, if I could do that, if my grandma, I even tell myself, if my grandmother could take 7 kids from the small island of Haiti to Brooklyn, New York, and raise them to be all successful adults, why can't you do this? And so I always talk, and I tell, like, if Les Brown could be born on a hard linoleum floor with not only knowing his biological parents to become a multi-millionaire speaker, why can't you? And so I use those things to talk myself off the ledge. I give myself examples. Hey, if this person could do it, if this person could do it, if this person could do it, Rich, there's no reason you can't either. And so I constantly remind myself every day who I am. And if I believe I am a champion, and I tell myself I'm a champion, eventually I'm gonna have to prove that. And that's the plan. So all champions go through struggle. All champions been knocked down. All champions lost the championship. I was watching a Michael Jordan documentary when he lost and he was crying and he was so upset. But now he's one of the greatest basketball players that ever played the game. But it didn't start that way. It took defeat, but he kept showing up every day. All right, defeat, all right, next day, come back. Defeat, come back next day. All right, they're beating me up, come back next day. And he's always asking himself, okay, how can I improve so I can be better and better and better until I finally hold that trophy? And so for anyone that wants a champion mindset, knowing getting beat up is a part of it. It's how you react to it is what makes you a champion.
Wow, that was so powerful. Thank you very much to both of you. And you got to understand one thing. He took Jim Rohn as an example, and what Jim Rohn said, that you have to guard your thoughts and always understand the thoughts come from garbage. If you are in the garbage, that's the thing that goes in. Okay, garbage in, garbage out. Do you understand that? So if you want to be a champion, you have to fly with the champions. You have to look for coaches who are the best. You got to go. Don't go for the normal people. Go for the best of the best. Sometimes you have to spend money. Sometimes you have to spend 10 times, 100 times more than a normal person. But you're going to the best person. That's what you all have to understand. That's where Nick comes in. Sorry, that's where Rich comes in. He looks for the best coach. That's what Nasreen does. That's what Manju does. That's what I do. And that's what most of you do. Go for the best of the best coach. Invest in yourself. It's not that you're paying that person because he's taking his time to coach you. Look at your friends. Who are your friends? And I can tell who you are. Why? Because you are exactly like what Les Brown says. You tell me your friends and I'll tell who you are. Just show me 9 of your friends. I'll tell 10th person would be exactly like the 9th one. So that's simple. Thank you very much. Let's go for the next question.
Hi. I am Shamir PH from Qatar.
Okay. Now, Qatar is again a Middle East country. Rich?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, I have been involved in many things, many activities, social and many community activities. But I want to focus on some things. So if I want to focus on something, I have to disconnect from my friends or any social activities. How to deal with that?
How to live with it. Wow, great question. Thank you. It was Shamir. Thank you. Great question. I'm gonna go back to a little bit thing I said previously. Is when you're focusing on yourself, you're actually being selfless. Most people make you feel like you're being selfish, but you're actually being selfless. Because if you're not good, that means your family's not good, your spouse is not good, your kids are not good. Your house is not good, your economy is not good, your health is not good if you're not good. So when you focus on you and improving yourself, you will get comments, you will get a little bit of backlash. I still have an argument with my sister because it was my niece's birthday. I didn't go to her birthday because I stood home. I was finishing writing my book. And she was very upset with me. She was like, hey, this is your niece. You should go and see her birthday. And I told her, hey, doesn't your niece have a birthday every year? She said, yes. I'll be there next year. But she didn't understand that it pained me to choose work over my niece. It did. She thought it was very easy for me, but it was hard. But I told myself, Rich, what if your niece grows up and she needs help with something that you can't provide? because you went to go see her birthday. I think it would be better for her at 18 years old that I could say, hey, I'll pay for your college tuition, than it is to go cut one cake at one day for an hour. And so I put things in perspective. Where am I going? What do I want to accomplish? Who do I want to help? I keep the vision of what I want in my life first. The vision stays first. And when the vision stays first, everything else has to be secondary. It has to be. And yes, you will feel guilty sometimes. You will feel, man, you know, maybe I should be hanging out more. Maybe I should go to more community events. Maybe I should be taking all these classes. But you have to remember, where are you going? So every day I ask this question to myself, Rich, where are you going? Where are you going? Now, or is taking this route, is that going to lead you there? And if the answer is no, the participation of that event, of that, whatever it is, has to be no. Has to be no, especially if something means more. Because I promise you, yes, people will say, look at you a little bit funny at first. My parents did for a very long time until they went actually saw me speak. And then they say, wow, you know, he's actually, my son's pretty good at this thing. Okay. And then they started supporting afterwards. But it took some time of me getting backlash and being strong enough to say, I know what I want more than what else anyone wants, because the vision came to you. And lastly, I want to remember the story of, I'm Christian by religious base, but I remember the story when Jesus first made his very first speech, right? There were people that wanted to throw him off a cliff. This man that people praise, years later, they praise him, they wear his cross, the whole thing. Wanted to throw him off a cliff after his first speech. So at first, people are not going to love what you're doing. It's just part of it. But if you know the mission, you know the vision, you hold fast to that, eventually people will turn around. I promise you they will. I have family members now that finally say, hey, Rich, I see what you're doing, and I'm proud of you. Years later. But at least I got it, though. Yes, it took some time, but it took me to stay focused, and then I actually received the praise and the validation that I was actually looking for. So it takes you, it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's for a person that says, I want this more than the criticism. I want this more than anything else. That has to be the feeling. I have to have this. It can't be a want. It has to be a must. There's a different energy into it. And when it's a must, you will be able to take the beatings. You will be able to take the whoopings and still move forward, because I have to have this. I have to have this.
That's absolutely strong, very powerful.
Thank you. Yeah.
If I'm right, you came up with a vision board today. Is that correct?
Yes, I am the one.
Yeah, you are the one, and you shared your vision board with me. Now that's exactly what Rich is telling right now. Focus on your vision board, the one that you shared with me, and just focus on that. People would say you are doing crazy, but your vision board and your vision, your mission, your value should be much powerful than what people say. And if you have that powerful, you'll reach where you want to reach. We'll take one last question. We'll take one last question because we are here.
Hi, good evening.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. Razia is here from Qatar.
Okay, from Qatar. Okay.
Yes,
great.
my question is, how to improve my emotional intelligence?
Okay, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Munir has come with completely. Come on,
of course, the last question, right?
The last question. Okay, go ahead.
Oh wow, that's a very, very, very good and important question you just asked.
Exactly.
Because it all is about emotions. I promise you can have the best mindset in the world. You can have all the best habits in the world, the best strategy in the world. But if you cannot control the emotional part, it won't happen for you. So there's a book, I just want to show you this, from one of my mentors, Abraham Hicks. It's called The Astonishing Power of Emotion.
Wow.
Brilliant book.
Show that once again. You can take the, just keep your hands on other side, Rich. So that, yeah, lift it up a little up. Okay, yeah, there you go. If those who want to click a picture of that, just take a screenshot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
No problem. So it's the power of emotions. One, you have to understand emotions. This book helped me understand what emotions are. So I'll give you a quick background, very, very brief. Let's just say, for example.
Oh, wait. Who is that? Oh my goodness.
It's Majid.
Yeah, that's okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
let's just say, for example, okay, I'm not saying this is true, I'm not saying this is not true, but let's just say, for example, that you are naturally purely positive. Let's just say you were born positive, your natural emotion is positive. Your natural emotion is enthusiasm. Because you think of a baby, what is a baby mostly? They're happy. I've never seen a depressed baby. I don't know about you, I've never seen a depressed baby. They're naturally happy. And so let's say that's your natural state of being. So when you have a thought, a single thought that goes away from your natural way of being, that's where negative emotion comes from, right? So let's just say you're purely positive. You have a thought that says, I don't think this is going to happen. What's naturally is going to happen? You're going to feel the tension of that. That's your body indicating to you that you're having the wrong thought. A thought that doesn't match your highest ideal of yourself. It doesn't match who you really are. So that's where negative emotions come from, right? So one, you understand where negative emotion comes from. So what is that saying? So if that's going against your natural way of being, and then when you start having thoughts that goes towards your natural way of being, I can do this. This will happen for me. I have the ability to do anything that I want. You start feeling that energy of the emotion. So when you understand where your negative emotions is coming from, they're only coming from a false thought, a false premise that was either given to you by a suggestion from another or that you made from yourself. Either way, it goes against your natural way of being. So whenever I get a negative thought about myself, about things, about people, I do an example for myself. I shift the thought and then I watch how my emotions are. This is how I make decisions. I said, okay, Rich, should I go back to, should I go back to engineering or should I continue on my path? If I say, can I go back to engineering and I start feeling tension, that's an indication for me that's not where my state of being is now. So if I say I need to keep going forward with my coaching, with my speaking, with my books, and I start feeling excited and I start feeling positive emotion, that's an indication saying that's the right thought. Keep going there, keep pulling from there, keep guiding that, and let your positive emotions guide you versus letting your negative emotion guide us. Because most of the time we learn.
Yes, this is correct, shifting the thoughts. But at the same time, all of a sudden, how can I shift the thoughts? If something happened to my family, I will forget everything and that emotional intelligence will be less.
Yes.
So,
yes. It takes.
In a fraction of a second, how I will change the thought?
In a fraction of a second. So I would go back to what we talked about previously, the anchor thought. By snapping, having some type of anchoring. I like a little bit of pain, just so it really reminds me, okay, don't have that thought again. But I'll give you an example because the family thing is a little bit personal, so I'll give you two examples. So one, I'll just show you the technique first, and then I'll give you an example. So you have the anchor thought, you snap yourself when you have a negative thought, then you repeat a positive mantra, the positive replacement thought, 7 times, and then you think of a memory of something positive that happens to you. That becomes your anchor. That sets you back. Now with family, there's a lot of tradition that comes with family. There's a lot of guilt that comes with family. Most people think, well, if your family's sick, your family's hurting, there's issues in your family, you need to be emotionally involved in that. And if you're not, you feel guilty about it, right? Because we've been brought up to think, okay, it's your family member, you should be emotionally involved in it. But that's not true. You want to be the light that shines, not to match everyone's dark mood. So for example, my father, this is a real story, my father was in the hospital because he had cardiac arrest, where the doctor said that he may die. He may die. My mother's emotional, my sister's emotional, my brother's emotional, everyone's emotional. I'm the one in there, I made a joke, and everyone started to laugh. I changed the entire mood of that entire room. And I could see my father. Every time I came to see him, I was that light. I kept being lighthearted. I said, man, you're going to be out of here in a week. I don't know why everyone's stressing. You're going to be out of here soon. Yeah, you're probably going to be out of here tomorrow. It's probably, and God blessing, you'll be out of here in 2 days. And I kept being that light. And eventually my father, every time I came around, I could see his energy picked up. He started even calling me, hey, are you coming to visit me today? I said, yeah, I'll be there later. And every time I came, my wife the same way. She came brought flowers. She kept bringing like energy to say something happy, something positive. Hey, you're looking good. He looked terrible. He looked terrible. He was skinny, like he was literally dying. And she would walk into the room and say, man, you look amazing. She would keep putting that positive suggestions into his mind, that positive suggestion out there into the universe. Even if it wasn't true, she kept putting that positive out there. And eventually what happened, my father did end up feeling better. Now he's out of the hospital. I saw him yesterday. He's even feeling more better about himself. Life will always hand you something to get emotionally involved in. But
well explained with your personal example. Appreciated.
Oh, not a problem. But every time I kept being the light, it's like I don't have that book with me, but there's a book called Power versus Force. There's too much to explain on it, but they say one enlightened being is more powerful than millions who are not. Mm-hmm. So we're always trying to push ourselves this is what this game is about, towards enlightenment, towards being at peace in the middle of the storm. It's like when Jesus talks about the story in the boat, when the whole boat was they're in a major storm, and Peter goes down to the cellar and says, Jesus, the ship is rocking, we're all gonna die. And everyone's stressing out, running around crazy. He's the most calm. And he goes out to the water and says, peace, be still. And the entire water calms. You are more powerful than you can ever imagine. In your words, in your thoughts, and in your energy. We control more of reality than we think. So it's not letting the outside dictate us. It's us to dictate the reality. I was not going to let myself get to that space where I was going to let my father die. That was on me. I said, I'm not going to let it happen. So I'm going to be the light in this room. And even my mother was like, oh, my son's crazy, but she had to laugh. She was like, oh, my son, he doesn't even realize his father's dying. She didn't understand what I was doing, but I did. My wife did. So every time I walked into the room, I was the light. And that light kept bringing his energy up. And now he's thinking, you know what, maybe I will survive this. Things are looking good. I do feel a little bit better. He was looking terrible. He's like, yeah, maybe I am looking good. It's just those little suggestions make a big difference to yourself and to other people. So when you could be the light in any dark situation, people will gravitate towards you. Why? Because that's leadership. Leaders are the ones, when everything's going completely wrong, are staying completely calm. That's why they want generals in war, because you don't want your general to freak out in war. You want your general to say, no, we're fine, we're good. But the troops are dying, General. Yeah, I get it, we lost some casualties, but we have some strategies, we're gonna end up winning this battle. That brings enthusiasm to the troops. Troops says, you know what? Hey, the general doesn't freak out, I'm not freaking out. I believe him, I trust him. We're gonna win this war. That's how wars are won. That's how companies are built. That's how lives are manifested. Through that ability to say, no matter what's happening outside of me, I am the light. I am the center being. I am the enlightened one to spread out that light to the outside versus letting the dark penetrate into my heart. So when you could live through your heart chakras. I don't know if anyone knows the chakras, but if you could live through your heart chakra, when you think of a thought, how does my heart feel about this? How does my heart feel about this? Ask yourself that question, because your heart will always be honest with you. Your thoughts won't. Even your gut sometimes won't, but your heart will always be honest with you. So when I ask my heart, how do I feel about my father being in this hospital? My brain says, I'm scared. My gut said, I'm terrified. My heart said, be the light. It's not about you, it's about him. Be the light for him. And as I was that, I eventually, I don't know if it was me, it could be coincidence, I don't know. All I know is he's out of the hospital, he's back at home, and he's healthy. So all I know is I was the light, And that was the result that came.
Well, that's absolutely powerful, very, very powerful. And what he spoke about, emotional intelligence, is all about leadership and leadership quality. As you mentioned, you got to be very calm. Rich, you had a book just on your right side, written by Jack and Field. Could you just pick up that book?
The Power of Focus.
Yes. Now, if you look at that author, he has got a fantastic book. Thank you very much, Rich. The name of the book is called The Success Principle. And in Success Principle, there are hundreds of principles. Have you got that? I got it in my library here. Very good. That's a book that I'm talking about. Now, in that book, he talks about responsibility. That's number one. Quality number one is responsibility. So as a leader, as an individual, as a father, as a mother, as a parent, as a student, as a teacher, you got to be responsible. You are responsible for everything that goes around you. Whatever happens around you, you are responsible for it. And if you take that responsibility, that's called leadership. That's number one. And number two, there is an equation which he has given very clearly. I know that Rich is very much familiar of this. It's called the E plus R is equal to O. The whereby E, that's exactly what Rich was talking about now. The letter E stands for events that happens in our life, the ups and the downs. Take an example of what happened to Rich's father, the cardiac arrest. That's an event. What is happening right now in the world, the Corona-19, it's COVID-19. That's again an event. Sometimes you get an award, you become a celebrity, you become the best of the best speaker in the world. It's an event. The question that you need to ask is, are you reacting to that event or are you responding? Now, if you take Rich as an example, everyone in his family, whether it's his sister, whether it's mom, everyone were reacting to the situation. Everyone were reacting to what happened to his father. But at the same time, what Rich did is, rather than reacting, he responded to the situation. Responding is all about being calm, asking to yourself, connecting with your heart and asking yourself, what should I do? Because if I do react like my parents, like my sister, like my sibling, like my mother, now the situation is going to be very worse. I need to take some sort of responsibility. Let me step back and change the complete scenario. And then the O, the letter O is the outcome. You get a different outcome. If, for example, Rich was not there, he was on vacation in Hawaii Islands, he was not able to come to the US to see his father, what's going to happen? They would react and the outcome would be different. It would be pathetic. At the same time, what happened? He came there, he was there, he responded to the situation, and the outcome was different. And that's all about emotion. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much to all of you from joining from different parts of the world. And that was a great question. Everybody asked a great question.